Have you ever wondered how much convenience really costs? Delivery apps have become a staple in our lives, but what's the true price we pay? In this video, we'll break down the convenience tax and reveal how much you might be spending each year on delivery fees and tips. You might be surprised to learn that it can add up to over $1,000 annually. Understanding this can help you make smarter choices and save money. Alright, let's dive in. Have you ever thought about how much convenience really costs you? Picture this. It's a rainy Tuesday evening, and you're snuggled up on your couch, scrolling through a delivery app. You order a delicious pizza, and within 30 minutes, it arrives at your doorstep. But here's the kicker. Did you know that the average person spends over $1,000 a year on delivery fees and tips alone? That's right. That's a convenience tax that sneaks up on you. So, what if I told you that by understanding this convenience tax, you could save a significant chunk of your hard-earned cash? Alright, now let's dive into the numbers and find out just how much those small fees add up over time. But before we do, if you enjoy insights like these, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Chill Finance for Real Life. Your wallet will thank you. Before we dive in, please remember that this video is for educational purposes only. It's not financial, legal, or tax advice. We encourage you to do your own research and consider seeking professional advice if necessary. Now, let's explore the concept of the convenience tax and how delivery apps can impact your yearly spending. Alright, now let's zoom out and think about how often we use delivery apps. It's convenient, right? But have you ever stopped to consider the total cost over a year? Imagine ordering food or groceries regularly. Each time, there's a delivery fee, and often, a tip, plus potential service charges. Let's do some simple math. If you order food once a week, that's 52 times a year. If each delivery costs an average of $5 in fees, that adds up to $260. That's just for delivery fees. Now, think about inflation. Prices tend to rise over time, so that $260 could be even higher next year. What if you add in tips and other charges? It's easy to see how the convenience tax can sneak up on us. Have you ever thought about how much you could save by cooking at home? Just a little planning can make a big difference. It's not just about saving money, it's about making conscious choices. So, as we wrap up, remember to keep track of your spending. Consider alternatives to delivery apps when possible. Your wallet will thank you. Have you ever ordered food through a delivery app and thought to yourself, this is so convenient, while also feeling a twinge of guilt about the cost? You're not alone. Today, we're diving into what I like to call the convenience tax, the extra amount we pay for the ease of having our favorite meals delivered right to our door. Let's explore just how much this convenience can add up over a year. Imagine this, you're cozy on your couch, binge watching your favorite series. The idea of cooking feels like a monumental task. So, you pull out your phone, scroll through your favorite delivery app, and place an order. It's easy, right? But let's take a moment to think about the hidden costs involved. When you order delivery, you typically face a service fee, a delivery fee, and sometimes even a tip. These charges can add up quickly. Let's say you ordered delivery twice a week. If each delivery costs you an average of $15 in fees, that's $30 a week. Multiply that by 52 weeks in a year, and you're looking at a whopping $1,560 just for the convenience of delivery. Now, let's consider how that money could work for you instead. If you invest that $1,560 at an annual interest rate of 7%, that money could grow significantly over time. This interest rate is a reasonable assumption based on historical stock market returns, where long-term growth often hovers around this figure. If we take that $1,560 and invest it, here's how it plays out. After 1 year, you would earn approximately $109 in interest. That brings your total to $1,669. But it doesn't stop there. If you let that amount continue to grow over 10 years, you'd have around $3,080. That's quite a difference, isn't it? Now, you might be thinking, but I love the convenience. And that's perfectly valid. Convenience has its value, but it's essential to weigh that against the long-term impact on your finances. Let's pause for a moment. Picture this. You're at a restaurant, and you order a nice meal. The waiter brings your food, and you enjoy every bite. Now, imagine if you had to pay an extra fee every time you ordered that meal. Would you still choose to eat out as often? Here's a quick recap. If you order delivery twice a week, you're spending over $1,500 a year. If you invest that money instead, it could grow to over $3,000 in 10 years. That's a significant difference. So, what's the takeaway here? It's all about balance. Convenience can be a wonderful thing, but it's crucial to be aware of the costs associated with it. Now, I'd love to hear from you. How often do you use delivery apps? And have you ever calculated your convenience tax? Share your experiences in the comments below. As we wrap up, remember to think about how your choices today can impact your financial future. Whether it's cooking at home, ordering in, or investing that money, every decision counts. Thanks for tuning in to Chill Finance for Real Life, where we make finance relatable and straightforward. Until next time, take care. Imagine you're cozy on your couch, scrolling through your favorite delivery app. You see that delicious meal you've been craving, and with just a few taps, it's on its way. But have you ever thought about the true cost of that convenience? Let's talk about what I like to call the convenience tax. This is the extra amount you pay for the ease of having food delivered right to your door. We'll break down how this can add up over a year and what that really means for your wallet. First, let's consider how often you might use a delivery app. For this example, let's say you order food twice a week. That's 8 times a month. If you multiply 8 by 12 months, you're looking at 96 orders in a year. Now, let's think about the average cost of delivery fees and tips. For our calculations, let's assume you spend an average of $5 on delivery fees and another $5 on tips for each order. So, for each delivery, you're spending about $10 extra. Now, if you take that $10 and multiply it by 96 orders, you get $960. That's how much you're paying in convenience tax just for delivery fees and tips in a year. But wait, there's more. This is where we introduce the idea of opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is what you miss out on when you spend money in one way instead of another. If you took that $960 and invested it instead, how much could it grow over time? Let's assume a consistent growth rate of 7% per year. This is a reasonable estimate based on historical market returns. Now, if you invest $960 at 7% for 1 year, you can calculate the future value using a simple formula. The formula is the initial amount times 1 plus the interest rate. So, you'd calculate it like this: $960 times 1.07. When you do that math, you get $1,259.20. That's the total amount you'd have after 1 year if you invested that money instead of spending it on delivery fees and tips. Now, let's think about the difference. You spent $960 on convenience, but if you had invested that money, you could have had $1,259.20. That's a difference of $399.20. Now, let's take a moment to consider what that extra money could mean for you. $399 could cover a nice weekend getaway, a new gadget, or even contribute to your savings for a future goal. But the convenience tax doesn't just stop at delivery fees and tips. What about the higher prices you might pay for food on these apps compared to cooking at home? Let's say your usual meal at a restaurant costs $15, but on the delivery app, it's $20. That's a $5 difference. If you order that meal twice a week, that's an additional $10 a week, or $40 a month. Over a year, that adds up to $480. When you add this to the $960 from delivery fees and tips, you're now looking at a total of $1,440 spent on convenience in just 1 year. Now, let's calculate the potential growth of that total amount if it were invested. Using the same 7% growth rate, we'll take $1,440 and multiply it by 1.07. That gives us $1,548.80 after 1 year. So, If you had chosen to invest that $1,440 instead of spending it on convenience, you could have gained an extra $108.80. Now, you might be thinking, but I love the convenience, and that's totally valid. The goal here isn't to make you feel guilty about enjoying delivery services, but to help you understand the hidden costs associated with that convenience. So, here's a little challenge for you. Next time you reach for that delivery app, ask yourself if it's worth the extra cost. Could you cook something at home or perhaps treat yourself to a nice meal out every now and then instead? In summary, the convenience tax can really add up. From delivery fees and tips to inflated food prices, it's essential to recognize how these costs impact your finances. If you can, consider setting aside some of that money for savings or investments. You might be surprised at how quickly it can grow. What do you think? Are you ready to take control of your spending? Let us know in the comments below. And remember, every dollar saved is a step toward a more secure financial future. Thanks for tuning in to Chill Finance for Real Life. Until next time, take care. Meet Sarah, a busy marketing executive in her 30s. With long hours at work, she often relies on food delivery apps. Last year, Sarah ordered takeout about 3 times a week, spending an average of $25 per meal. That's $75 a week. Over a year, that adds up to $3,900. Now, let's factor in delivery fees and tips. If she spends an extra $5 on delivery and another $5 on tips for each meal, that's an additional $10. So, her total weekly expense is $85. Over the year, that's $4,425. If we consider an interest rate of 7%, which reflects a reasonable growth rate for investments, we can see how this convenience tax impacts her finances. If Sarah had invested that $4,425 instead, it could grow significantly over time. After 1 year, at 7%, she could have about $4,730. Imagine how much more she could save or invest for her future. Now, picture this. Sarah could have used that money for a vacation, a savings account, or even a down payment on a home. It's food for thought, isn't it? Next, we have Mark, a retiree in his 60s. Mark enjoys his evenings out but has started using delivery apps more frequently since his wife passed away. He orders food twice a week, spending around $30 each time. That's $60 weekly, which means $3,120 annually. Adding delivery fees and tips, let's say it costs him an extra $8 each time. That brings his total to $76 a week, or almost $3,952 a year. If Mark had invested that $3,952 at 7%, it could grow to approximately $4,026 after a year. It's a stark reminder of how little decisions can add up. Now, think about this. What could Mark do with those extra funds? Perhaps travel to see his grandchildren or take a class he's always wanted to try. Let's shift gears to Emily, a college student living on a tight budget. With classes and work, Emily often turns to delivery apps. She orders food about 5 times a month, spending around $15 each time. That totals $75 monthly, or $900 a year. With delivery fees and tips, let's assume she spends an additional $5 each time. That brings her total to $20 per meal, or $1,200 a year. If Emily invested that $1,200 at 7%, it would grow to about $1,284 after 1 year. Now, picture her using that extra money for textbooks or even a fun weekend trip with friends. It's amazing how small changes can lead to bigger opportunities, right? Next, we meet David, a single dad in his 40s. Juggling work and parenting, he often relies on delivery apps for convenience. He orders dinner about 4 times a month, spending around $25 each time. That's $100 monthly, or $1,200 a year. With delivery fees and tips, let's say he spends an extra $10 per meal. That brings his total to $1,400 a year. If David had invested that $1,400 at 7%, it could grow to about $1,498 after a year. Imagine what David could do with that extra money. Perhaps save for his child's education or plan a special outing together. Finally, let's talk about Lisa, a young professional in her 20s. With a busy social life, she often orders food online. Let's say she orders takeout around 6 times a month, spending about $20 each time. That's $120 monthly, or $1,440 a year. Including delivery fees and tips, let's say she spends an additional $12 per meal. That brings her total to $1,800 a year. If Lisa had invested that $1,800 at 7%, it could grow to about $1,926 after 1 year. What could she do with that extra cash? Maybe start a side hustle or save for a dream vacation. So, as we see, the convenience tax can really add up. It's worth considering how our choices affect our finances. What small changes could you make to keep more money in your pocket? Have you ever thought about how much you spend on delivery apps? It might be more than you realize. This is what we call the convenience tax. It's that extra cost you pay for the ease of having food delivered right to your door. Let's break it down. First, consider the delivery fees. These can range from a few dollars to over $10 per order. If you order just once a week, that adds up to over $500 a year. Now, imagine if you order more frequently. That's a significant chunk of change just for convenience. Next, think about the service charges. These are often a percentage of your order total. If you order a meal for $20 and the service fee is 15%, you're adding $3 to your bill. Over time, those small fees accumulate. Now, let's talk about tips. Tipping is important, but it can also add to your total cost. If you tip $3 per delivery, and you order once a week, that's another $156 a year. That's money that could go towards savings or investments. Here's a quick story. A friend of mine started tracking her delivery expenses. She realized she was spending more on delivery than on groceries. It was an eye-opener. Have you ever tracked your spending like that? Another factor is the price markups on menu items. Restaurants often increase their prices on delivery apps. If a burger is $10 in-store but $12 online, you're paying $2 extra for the convenience. Multiply that by how often you order, and it really adds up. Now, consider the opportunity cost. What if you took that money spent on delivery and invested it instead? If you invest that $500 a year at a modest growth rate, it could grow significantly over time. Wouldn't it be nice to see your money work for you? Finally, let's wrap up with a simple tip. Next time you're tempted to order in, ask yourself if it's worth the convenience tax. Could you cook something at home instead? It might save you money and even be healthier. What do you think? Alright, let's dive into a topic that many of us overlook, the convenience tax associated with delivery apps. You might be thinking, but I love the convenience. Is it really that bad? Let's break it down. Imagine you order delivery just once a week. If each delivery costs you around $10 more than cooking at home, that adds up to $520 a year. That's a significant amount, right? Now, some might argue, but I save time and effort. And that's a fair point. Time is money, after all. But let's consider this. What if you used that time to learn a new skill or start a side hustle? Suddenly, the convenience tax doesn't seem so convenient anymore, does it? Another common rebuttal is, I don't mind paying for the service, it's worth it to me. That's valid. But have you ever calculated how much you're truly spending? If you're ordering delivery several times a week, that yearly total could easily reach over $2,000. What else could you do with that money? Alright, now let's zoom out and think about your overall financial health. If you're spending more on delivery than you initially thought, it might be time to reassess your priorities. So, I want to hear from you. Have you ever calculated your own convenience tax? What could you do with that money instead? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, every little bit adds up. Making small changes can lead to big savings. So, Let's rethink our spending habits together. Have you ever thought about how much you spend on delivery apps? It's convenient, but at what cost? Today, we're diving into what I like to call the convenience tax. Let's break it down. Imagine you order food through a delivery app once a week. If you spend an average of $20 per order, that adds up to $1,040 a year. Now, let's factor in delivery fees and tips. If you add $5 for delivery and another $3 for a tip, that's an extra $8 each time. So, if you order once a week, that's $416 a year just in fees and tips. When you combine that with your food costs, you're looking at a total of $1,456 annually. That's a significant amount, isn't it? Alright, now let's zoom out. This is just one example. If you're ordering more frequently or using multiple apps, the numbers could skyrocket. Think about how that money could be used elsewhere, like saving for a vacation or paying off debt. Here's a quick recap. One order a week, $20 for food, plus $8 in fees equals $1,456 a year. It's easy to see how convenience can add up. So, how do we combat this convenience tax? Consider meal prepping or dining in more often. What's your take on delivery apps? Do you think the convenience is worth the cost? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this information helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights on managing your finances in real life. As we wrap up today's discussion on the convenience tax from delivery apps, let's reflect on some key takeaways. Many people underestimate how quickly those delivery fees add up. On average, the yearly cost can reach hundreds of dollars. Convenience often comes at a price, affecting our budgets. Small changes, like cooking more at home, can save significant money. Awareness is the first step to making smarter financial choices. Remember, every little bit counts when it comes to your finances. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more insights. Your financial journey deserves a thoughtful approach. Stay tuned for our next video, where we'll explore budgeting tips that can help you save even more. Until next time, keep it chill and stay financially savvy.